Okay, hello, welcome back everyone. It's been a while and my game is just around the corner. Maybe even by the time you watch this it's out already. But just so everyone's on the same page, the game is coming out on May 21st. It's coming out at 6 p.m. CEST time, that is Central Europe summertime. Now you may have to do some math to how that translates to your time zone wherever you're living. But yeah, it will be 6 p.m. CEST and I'm excited. It's been 9 months. I've been working on this game for what feels like forever, but it's really only been like 8 to 9 months. And yeah, it's just around the corner. So I promised you all that I would record a video like this one where I'll just do a starter guide. I will teach you how to play the game. Now I am using a controller, but you can use an Xbox controller, a PS4 controller or a DualSense controller. But I've also added, upon request from you all, keyboard and mouse support, and that will be available on day 1 of launch. Let's just jump right into it. Alright, here we are. Welcome to Rooftops Alleys. So in this video I thought I would teach you how to play the game as a bit of a starter guide. As for those who are a bit more visual learners, I always like to watch YouTube videos when I try and learn a game with a steeper learning curve. So yeah, that's what we're going to do in this video today, and hope you are ready for tomorrow's launch. The game will release within the next 24 hours. And yeah, I hope I get you excited with this little video here, get you familiarized a little with the controls before launch so that you're all set up and ready. We are in the main menu here. You will see a few options. However, we will focus on the play and tutorial section. The tutorial section will have the in-game tutorial, and I suggest you do play this the first time you play it, whether you watch this video or not, because it will step-by-step teach you every move of the game, or at least give you an overview of the main movement mechanics to get you sort of started. I will, however, teach you the game in this video on one of the 3 maps that are available in this early access launch. We'll have the Steelyard, the construction site, and we have the school district. And we are going to start off with the Steelyard. Okay, and here we are on the Steelyard map. Now I am using a controller, specifically I'm using an Xbox controller. Keyboard and mouse support also supported, however this video will showcase how to play the game on whatever controller you want to play it on. If you encounter any problems for any reason, I'll always make sure launching the game after connecting your controller, that always makes sure it's connected properly. So we can start off with the simple movements. Climbing, vaulting, running. As you can see, I'm using the right stick to control the camera. Then you use the left stick to simply move around, and you can use your right trigger, it's like giving gas in a racing game, to simply start sprinting. Now, jumping, quite straightforward, you simply press A, so I haven't reinvented the wheel here. And yeah, let's try and climb this wall there. So for climbing, vaulting, and basically holding on to anything, you always use your left trigger. Climbing is the easiest movement here, because we have a little small wall here, so we can simply hold the left trigger and mount it like that. Jumping and falling, we can quickly go into. Jumping and landing, hopefully landing, is quite straightforward. So you could just run off this and you will automatically safely land. However, you may encounter heights that are a bit too high to automatically land, so you may have to roll. And the way you roll is you simply tap B before landing. There's a sweet spot there you'll figure out, and you will safely roll. So let's try this. Tap B and you'll roll. Let's see what happens if I don't roll off this height, for example. Ouch. Yeah, so that's the ragdoll. As you can see, I'm respawning and spawning here to this cute little pigeon icon. That is actually just a session marker, and the way you can set this is D-pad down, and you'll see it will spawn it to you at any point, and that simply saves your location. And if at any point you kind of moved away too far, you fall down here or something, you can just press D-pad up and you will teleport back to it. And this is great for repeating lines, for learning to do parkour, or free running, or tricking on certain spots here. And it's just a useful tool to keep in mind here in this game. So yeah, let's move on to vaulting. For the vaulting, you always use your left trigger and you combine it with a button press of X, Y, or B to perform different vaults. So we can start off with a cat pass, which is hold the left trigger while running towards the wall, and then at the right time, so right before the wall, you tap Y, for example, for the cat pass. Let's try this. Y, and that's a cat pass. We can do the same with, say, B for a 360. That's quite nice. And yeah, that's vaulting. That's quite simple and straightforward. And there is a few different options here. I will not go into everything on every single trick in this video because there's a lot to figure out. That said, you can always go to the pause menu. You can view the controls here. You have the vaulting controls, the tricking controls, pigeon controls, which I will get to, the precision jumps, and your main controls on your left-hand side here. And so just to give you an idea, This is the tricking, so there's a lot of options. And like I said, I'm using a gamepad and Xbox controller. You can also use a DualSense, and you can simply switch the icons here, which I think is really important. Any game should have this. And you can also enable keyboard and mouse, and then you'll see the appropriate controls for that as well. Now we can switch it back to the gamepad. And switching the controller layout here will also apply to everything else in the game. So if you get prompts, say, before you start a challenge, you'll now see the correct icons. So if you're ever asking how to change this to mouse and keyboard, you can simply just do it that way. We can also perform a power jump, which is kind of a vault, but it gives you extra height and it may enable you to perform a trick out of it. And all it does is you hold A while running towards the smaller wall, and you'll perform this cool power jump. And you can trick out of this as well, like this. Now, tricking we haven't gotten into yet, so let's learn how to do a front flip first. The tricks in my game essentially work as a left stick directional input combined with a button. Now, the button is pressed first, so you can either press A, X, or Y while you're in air. So you always have to jump first, and then, for example, hold Y and flick the left stick up, or keep it up because I'm already running forward, to perform the front flip. Now you can do the same with a side flip. And the way you can change tricks is you have 4 different options for each button here. So the Y button has 4 different directional inputs, so you can press and hold Y and then combine it with an up flick, right flick, left flick, down flick. Same goes for the Y. You have different options and for the A as well. And so let's start off again here. If I was to, let's use this, I'll set a session marker with D-pad down. Let's say I want to do a front flip to roll, just like that. Now we can go a bit more crazier. Let's see if we do this. It's a different trick. And again, all the controls are laid out in the controller section in the pause menu. That will definitely give you the best sort of overview. It's always a bit hard to explain it while you're doing it. I can showcase a few tricks here. In the line, for example, you can side flip. You could power jump to vortex flip and roll. You could also perform cartwheels with Y. And after landing a cartwheel with Y, you can tap B repeatedly every time your feet touch the ground to perform a backhand spring. And you can combine that with other button presses as well, as you can hopefully see on the controller here, to perform different tricks. Now, you can always switch to first person mode as well, which is simply D-pad right. And you'll see you're now in first person, which is quite intense. But for those who prefer it, it's quite cool. Now, you can have different settings as well, which I will get into later, which help you modify your gameplay experience a bit, the cameras and stuff. The easiest one you want to probably access is you can change your field of view, depending on what monitor you're using. You simply hold the right button and then combine that with D-pad down or D-pad up to kind of zoom in, zoom out to your preferred kind of field of view. Now, if you just hold the right button on its own, you will just trigger slow motion mode, which is quite cool. And you can use that maybe, let's say, right after you jump. You can hold that to kind of, have a bit more time to think of what trick to perform, specifically in the beginning, when it may be a bit harder for you to kind of learn the trick still. That's definitely useful. Now, let's look at strides. Strides right now are automated, meaning you can simply just run towards like beams like the ones we can see in front of us here, and you can hold the left trigger, same as for climbing and vaulting. But here you can hold it, and as long as you hold it, you will stride / automatically jump from one beam to another. So let's try this. We sprint towards it, and we simply hold the left trigger, and we will stride. And this is quite straightforward, but can be combined with different inputs as well. So you could, for example, stick a landing on one of the beams. You could jump out of a stride and combine it with tricks. And that goes for pretty much any other mechanic in this game as well. Now, the zip lines are pretty similar, as in you will be able to jump towards the zip line, and once your hands are close to it, you simply hold your left trigger, and as long as you hold it and are on the zip line, you will stay on it. As soon as you release it, you will let go. You can try it here. We hold, and release, and there you go. Now, the left trigger can also be used to wall run, and we can try that here. Let's front flip down, little roll. Let's try this. We put a session marker here, D-pad down. We have our location saved. We can always spawn back to it. And to wall run, you simply jump sort of sideways towards the wall, and then when you're close to the wall, you hold the left trigger, and as long as you hold it, you will wall run until you can't wall run anymore. Sort of. Let's try this. We sprint towards the wall, we jump and hold, and there you go. And like I did just there, you can also jump out of a wall run. You don't have to jump out of it. You could just jump towards it and do it as long as you can, sort of. Okay, let's try and combine all of these into one nice little line. So the vaulting, the climbing, power jumping, flipping, zip lines, strides. Let's try and do this all at once. Let's do a little 360 vault here. Let's see, power jump up here, roll. See if we can do a few strides here. Switch to first person camera, switch back. Let's see if we can hold onto this zip line here, get a bit creative. See if we can land down into this little window. Ooh. Oh, no, I messed up. Okay, let's try this again. I should have set a session marker here. Try it again. Come on, here you go. There you go. Nice one. Now, you may all be wondering, how do we switch to the Pigeon and what is the Pigeon even used for? So if you hold D-pad left, you will open the radio menu and you can control that with your right joystick. And here you have different options. You can change the weather to sunny, to rainy. You can switch the music in case you have that on. I have it currently turned off because I'm speaking. And you can also switch to the Pigeon. And that will literally just spawn on top of you and you can fly around with this. Now, the Pigeon is controlled quite easily. So you press A to toggle fly/ground movement. So if you're on ground, you can jump and then press A again and then you will fly. Now you can use the Pigeon to set session markers, just like with the main character as well. And you can also press up to just spawn to your current location. And so, for example, here I could switch to the Pigeon and I could simply just fly up this little area and I could spawn somewhere over here. That looks good. Spawn up and then I could start from here. And I can set myself a little session marker here again to make sure I can respawn. Now here's a little slope, and on slopes you will automatically slide if you land on them. That's just currently how it works in my game. Sliding may be improved to, maybe give you the option later on to slide on the flat ground. That is still being worked on. Now let's try this. Front flip onto it, boom. And you can control it with your left joystick, jump off, or front flip. And yeah, I can tell you sliding is really fun. You can also hold X while sliding or Y to perform different tricks. So if you hold Y, you can stand up. Or you can hold, whoop, that was nice. Or you can hold X and kind of rotate around, which is quite cool. Oh, don't die, nice. Got a cock down here. Sweet. Now, what can we do as well? So as you noticed, I just got a speed boost there, and I can teach you how to do that. So basically, if you look at the bottom right of the screen there, you see the line meter that just went down. And that always fills up if you perform tricks. So let's perform a few tricks and see how that goes up and fills up. And you'll see not only does the line meter fill up, but you'll also get a trick multiplier, which is now 4 times the points because I've just got max boost basically. Now, what can I do apart from benefit that I get more points? If that line meter is filled because I've just performed a lot of tricks, at any point in time, you can left click your joystick. So the left joystick, just click it in and you'll get a speed boost until that is empty. And so what you can now do is you can strategically trick to unlock a speed boost that you can then trigger to, get some extra speed, get some extra distance, some extra height. So let's give a bit of context. I may want to go up here. Now let's see, I'll perform a few tricks. Do some strides and you'll see the line meter fills up as well. And now I need a bit of distance, so I simply boosted here and I got a bit of extra distance and I could clear that roof gap. Now, like I said, in the pause menu, you can always find the controls and they will be laid out here. You can switch the layout depending on what input you're using. You can check out the different types of movements, like the climbing. You'll see everything you can do. You can see all the tricks. That also includes the sliding mechanic. You can also view how to control the Pigeon again, precision jumps as well. And the precision jumps I can also get into, which is, and bear with me because there's just so much to this game that I find it really hard to kind of play and teach at the same time. So the way you can do precision jumps is you can charge your jump. That also applies to normal jumping. So if you hold A just quickly, you'll perform a normal jump. And if you hold A for a bit longer before releasing, you will charge a jump. So you can see ducks down, and I just performed a larger jump. Now, for precision jumping, you can hold the right shoulder button and you'll see it will charge up, and so you will have a max charge and then the character sort of resets. But if you press it within this bar charging up, and I can just slow-mo this so you can see it better, if you press A at the max, for example here, you'll perform a little standing jump. And you can do this at any point to perform a short jump or a max jump by completely charging it full time. Now you can also stick a landing also with the left shoulder button. So you'd simply jump and then quickly tap the left shoulder button to stick a landing. Just like that. The way you can combine this is once you stick a landing, you can just press A quickly again and you will perform another precision jump. So just like this, you can just keep going, and you can combine that with a directional input as well, as long as you wish. Now, there's also character customization in my game, and so if you simply go into the pause menu, you can go to the customize section, and you will see that you have some options here. You can have upper body, lower body, shoes, some head customizations, headphones, accessories, and backpacks. That is still quite minimal. There's a lot to be added here, considering it's still early access. There's going to be a lot of updates with different pieces of clothing. Right now, you have some simple choices, well, let's just check them out. We have a jacket here, for example. You could also color it the way you want. Let's see, let's set a different lower body. Maybe let's go for maybe more baggy pants. Maybe go back to that jacket. Maybe make it red. Let's say I don't want headphones. You can also have some options here. This one I quite like. You can change the color of your shoes. You can change the backpack. Like I said, there's not a lot of options here at the moment, but more to be added. But yeah, you can definitely set your character up hopefully to your liking in this early access, with more options to be expected on every update. Now, there's a few options as well, sort of accessibility options, as well as the graphical options, audio options, the basics. The gameplay options here are specifically interesting because you will be able to change things such as your camera sensitivity. You have a motion blur setting. Few of you have asked for a show and hide HUD setting, which basically just hides the HUD. And the user interface, you can have an in-game FPS counter, trick in first person, which will essentially, if you're in first person, if you have this on, tricks will be performed in first person. However, if you turn this off, first person mode is still on. However, every time you trick, the game will automatically and temporarily switch you back to third person, which will help those who, are more likely to get motion sickness, for example. Same applies to this first person mode, which currently we have stabilized camera and a realistic one. Stabilized is the normal one, which is it's stabilized. It gives you a bit of a clearer view of what's going on. And yeah, it's just a bit more steady. Whereas if you head over to the realistic one, as you can already see, there's a lot more head movement, and it's essentially just a one-to-one realistic first-person camera. And yeah, if you prefer that one, that's definitely the most intense way to play the game, I suppose. Especially in first person. I quite enjoy it, but it's definitely not for those who experience motion sickness quite quickly. Now, last but not least, let's try a challenge maybe. So in this early access launch, on day one, you'll have two different options for challenges. You'll have time trials and you'll have trick challenges. The names kind of are self-explanatory, but essentially time trials is you against time. You have to go through checkpoints that is currently set to, you have bronze scores, silver scores and gold scores. Obviously your own personal record that you can beat. That same applies to the trick scores. However, there it's not about the faster you get to the end, but instead you have a certain time to reach certain goals of tricks. Let's start with the time trial. You can simply start it like this and you'll see little checkpoints appear. And on the bottom left of our screen, you'll see the bronze times, the silver times, the gold times, and your current score. And in my case, my record score, because I've already, I'm the deaf, I suppose I played this a little too much. But yeah, they are quite fun. I really suggest you do them. They teach you how to use the boost quite successfully as well. Like I explained earlier, the more you trick, the more you fill up your line meter, and that will obviously give you more speed during time trials, for example. So let's try and you really use strategy here. So I trick strategically to boost my line meter up so I keep getting speed boosts, and therefore I can get faster and beat my own score. Here you go, that's the gold. I have yet to beat my own score because, like I said, I've gone in on this one. Alright, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like what you see. This is obviously a first, me showing the controls and everything. And yeah, I'm really happy with how far I got it. Obviously, this is still early. My game is coming out in early access, so it's not a finished game. So that's worth knowing before you purchase it. And yeah, I'm just really excited to hear everyone's feedback. I'm anxious, stressed, tired, but just overwhelmed with excitement for this release. And I hope you like it as much as I do. The Discord server will be updated. I've prepared a few channels, such as, you know, sharing gameplay bugs, sharing your feedback, suggestions, but also, you know, you can share your best clips as well, which I'll be regularly sharing on my social media. So go share as many clips as you wish. And then I've also created like a leaderboards channel in the Discord, so you can share your best trick scores when you do trick challenges and your quickest, fastest time trial times, basically. So yeah, I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you in the Discord. And yeah, I'm excited for the launch. And yeah, see you on the next video.